Imagine each zip code being uplifted and adopted. Florida is home to 983 zip codes, and astonishingly, 15% of these zip codes account for nearly half of the children living in poverty across our state. And the areas you see highlighted on this screen represent those zip codes. Now, what does this concentration of poverty mean for our communities? It means that these areas stricken with the highest rates of poverty need additional resources and economic opportunities. And it is essential to ensure that every child in these communities, regardless of what zip code they live in, have access to the same resources and economic opportunities as those in communities where more economic opportunities are readily available. And today, I'll be sharing with you a few companies that are working to ensure that these economic opportunities and community investments are happening across Florida. These companies are leading the way to make this vision a reality. One such company is Florida Blue, which is building healthier communities one zip code at a time. And as adopters, they have addressed unsustainable healthcare costs by intentionally investing in a number of Florida's communities, especially ones with the highest rates of poverty. These zip codes were actually founded by the Florida Chamber Foundation's Prosperity Project. For example, they recognized that high rates of maternal death and infant mortality could be counteracted with targeted, thoughtful investments. They have demonstrated this with their efforts in 32206, which was actually one of the most flourishing communities in Jacksonville, Florida at one point. Florida Blue is committed to addressing various barriers community members experience, such as a lack of access to medical care, food insecurity, and the lack of access to transportation. Florida Blue is investing in this zip code and several others to address the leading preventable causes of chronic diseases as well. And they're able to do this through their Growing Resilient campaign, which is a $25 million investment strategy, leveraging the insights from the Florida Gap Map and the Florida Prosperity Project's zip code adoption model to partner with community organizations that work directly in these communities. The campaign targets 5 of Florida's most impoverished zip codes, including 32206, which is in Eastside Jacksonville, in areas in Fort Lauderdale, Orlando, and 2 zip codes in Tampa. In fact, more details can be found in the 2023 April issue of Florida Trend, which recognized this program as the cover story that month, which is what you can see on the screen. And another organization making significant strides in this effort is Metropolitan Ministries. Metropolitan Ministries launched their Neighbor Hope Project geared towards addressing poverty in communities in the Tampa Bay area, understanding that childhood poverty is a neighborhood problem. Metropolitan Ministries defines their Neighbor Hope Project as a purpose-driven approach based on data provided by the Florida Chamber Foundation. Now that's really their quote, y'all. When their CEO, Tim Marks, was featured in Florida Trend, he spoke about how using the Florida Gap Map, he and his team realized that only 25% of rent assistance and food assistance services were going to the communities that needed assistance the most. Using the analysis brought to life through the Florida Chamber scorecard and Gap Map, they revamped their purpose-driven strategy, and now 90% of their food assistance goes into Tampa's most impoverished communities, and 65% of their rental assistance goes into these communities as well. Now that's impressive, huh? But they didn't stop there. They hired a director of community engagement from the very communities the Neighbor Hope Project was created to provide services to. Now, this director developed a team to provide additional services, build relationships with business and nonprofits that were making a difference, and partner with them to elevate the work they were already doing. Metropolitan Ministries understood the power of meeting communities where they are in order to move the needle in a positive direction. And similarly, the Children's Home Society, also known as CHS, has adopted zip codes where their community partnership schools are located, such as zip code 32808. CHS adopted this zip code to intentionally and strategically provide resources to Evans High School, a school once seen as troubled and beyond saving. However, a few members at CHS saw an opportunity to improve Evans High School and tackle the generational poverty that persisted in this zip code. They believed that in partnership with Orange County schools and local clinics, that they could use the community partnership school model to enhance outcomes for students. By providing additional services and support, they aim to reduce the burdens experienced by students and their families. And now, a decade later, Evans High School is a completely different place. Yeah. Y'all clapping before I even told you the outcomes. Graduation rates have gone from 64% to 99%. Yeah, making it one of the most impressive and successful high schools in the entire state, period, okay? Additionally, thoughtful investments have been made to update the building, with the campus now resembling a small community college, offering services and resources to address students' needs such as dental care and food security. Because how can a student learn if their tooth hurts or if they're hungry? They're not able to. The success of Evans High School has had a ripple effect, and community partnership schools can now be seen across the entire state of Florida. There are now 29 public schools using this strategy to impact the lives of our children. And this next story is close to my heart because I'm born and raised and still live on the south side of Tallahassee. See, Tallahassee Collegiate College launched the Prosperity 32304 project, which helps provide pathways to opportunity for everyone, regardless of their background or socioeconomic status. At the launch of this initiative, zip code 32304 was once one of the most impoverished in the state. To provide additional opportunities for students in this zip code, TCC and private companies launched a scholarship specifically for students in 32304. And now 50 students from this zip code have the opportunity to receive a scholarship to attend TCC, creating paths to prosperity through education. Additionally, in partnership with Root Cause Leaders, the zip code now has access to resources that have traditionally not been available within this community. The Moore Agency has donated tens of thousands of meals, and the Tallahassee Chamber's Classroom Connection program has helped double third grade reading rates in John G. Riley Elementary, and the list goes on. Yes. From these 4 examples, we see what happens when intentional and strategic investment strategies are implemented, and when we as the business community unite for good. Students receive scholarships to attend school, infant mortality rates are addressed, schools gain additional resources, and economic opportunities increase in our communities. But it does not and cannot stop there. Our goal at the Florida Chamber Foundation is to no longer imagine what would happen if every zip code in Florida is adopted. Our goal is to make it happen. Addressing childhood poverty and ensuring every child in Florida has an equal opportunity at earned success is vital. And this is not only crucial for the economic success of Florida's business community, but also because we have a real opportunity to make a genuine impact in communities across Florida that need additional investments towards economic opportunities. At the Florida Chamber Foundation, our researchers developed the 10 root causes of poverty wheel. And on this wheel, you see areas such as jobs, childcare, safety, and even justice. These root causes of poverty make the difference between communities thriving or communities being trapped in the cycle of poverty. Regardless of whether you are working to address jobs, childcare, or justice in your communities, you cannot do so without including the voice of the very communities you intend to serve. And that's why on this slide, you see highlighted agency community voice. See, community voice isn't just a component in addressing the 10 root causes of poverty. It is the essential component needed to do so. At the Florida Chamber Foundation, we understood early on that while we are the research arm of the Chamber, real-life experiences and community-created solutions cannot be replaced by mere data. Because community voice isn't something that's calculated. Community voice is created. As Florida's business community, we have the responsibility to use our platform to positively impact the very communities we were created to serve. And we have the resources and relationships to make a meaningful difference. Today, you've heard stories about companies that are impacting the communities where we live, work, and play. These companies exemplify what happens when businesses unite for good. Communities thrive and economic prosperity flourishes. This success is due to innovative programming efforts, strategic investments, and collaborative efforts that address and solve the most pressing needs in our communities. But the commitment of Florida's companies to positively impact our communities does not stop there. Just yesterday, a few advisory board members and I spent the day at Feeding South Florida. We had the unique opportunity to be in the very establishment that addresses food insecurity here in the South Florida region. And what I love about yesterday's Day of Service and Strategic Planning meeting is that it serves as a prime example of agency community voice in action. Business and nonprofit leaders came together to learn, strategize, and work collaboratively to make a positive change in our communities while addressing childhood poverty rates in Florida. And yes, y'all, halving childhood poverty numbers can seem like a daunting task. And yes, when it comes to doing so, it does have its challenges. But that is why we are committed to addressing childhood poverty 365 days per year. And today's Prosperity Summit is just one day in our ongoing movement. Our team and advisory board members work tirelessly each and every day to ensure that every child in Florida has a pathway out of poverty by 2030. Whether that be through investing in impactful programming, offering our thought leadership, or even actively participating in service projects like yesterday. The Florida Chamber and partners are dedicated to making a positive impact in our own backyards. However, we cannot and do not expect to do this alone. Private businesses in the building say, woo, make some noise. Yeah, okay. All right. We need you to continue using your resources to not only invest in your communities, but also to understand what's happening in them while doing so thoughtfully. And to my nonprofit colleagues, I need you to do the same thing. Woo, make some noise. Thank y'all. Yes, okay. We need you to keep providing specific solutions and responses to the needs of our community members in real time. And then share these insights with us so that we can collaborate effectively. Together, our combined efforts can create a sustainable impact and drive true economic prosperity across Florida, which can and will happen because in this room, we have problem solvers. We are surrounded by individuals passionate enough about addressing childhood poverty to spend their day learning, sharing, and providing solutions to help Florida's most under-resourced communities. And we want to ensure that each of you leaves today with the information, resources, and contacts necessary to continue making a difference. That is why, before and during today's lunch portion, we have created a list of questions for each of you to discuss at your tables. We hope these questions will help you connect further with the fellow leaders in your community. The goal is for these intentional conversations to begin here and continue post-summit. A few team members and I will be walking around during this time, and we hope that you share with us what you are discussing at your tables. And also, do not be shy post-summit. Make sure to email us the way that you are making a difference in your community so that we can potentially get your company highlighted on our Promising Practices page. I also encourage you during this time to think about what zip code you can adopt in Florida so that we can reach our goal of ensuring every zip code in Florida is adopted. And by doing so, we can give each zip code access to additional opportunities and resources that can change the trajectory of a child's life and provide them with a true path to economic prosperity. Join the companies you learned about earlier in this presentation in helping provide additional resources and economic opportunities to Florida children living in zip codes across the state. In closing, I leave you with this quote from one of my Prosperity Advisory Board members, Jim Miller. He said something profound. His company's tagline is giving every person every chance. But I'm actually going to Zenanify it and say, giving every child every chance, because that is our goal, each one of ours in this room, to ensure that we, as Florida's business community, give every child every chance, regardless of their zip code. Every child should have access to the same opportunities and resources. Together, we can ensure that our children have the chance to thrive and that 100% of Florida's children have a pathway out of poverty and into prosperity by 2030. Thank you. You'll have time to converse amongst each other and then also during our networking lunch. But for now, let the conversations begin. Thank you.